So, as we experience periods in time of uncertainty, especially when it comes to the reduction of supply, shortages, it is the natural instinct of those who are prepared and or are working to become prepared and preparing to stock up, get all they can, stockpile before it's too late. And we see that happening as Watcher.guru shares that BRICS countries are buying large amounts of this one particular item in preparation for what's to come. Again, ladies and gentlemen, stock up now while you can. And on this, now two particular items in being very, very crucial in the coming days. One of which I'll tell you guys right now, one of which would be capital, resources. These are going to be vital, extremely important, especially for those who've been affected by the recent wave of tornadoes and deadly storms that have been sweeping through the Southeast. As we know that I believe Texas is quite possibly the largest or one of the largest states that ranks in hail damage. And Florida, just recently, Central Florida being hit by tornadoes. Florida is of even more importance because of Florida's insurance situation, the shortcomings, deficits of these insurance companies that don't have the liquidity, they don't have the resources, they don't have the capital, they don't have the means, the money to pay out all these claims if they were to get hit by a devastating wave of damaging storms. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the footage. I really hope that the people are okay, because you can't put a price on life. However, making them whole in the process of their property, their loss of their property, homes, vehicles, businesses, this is going to be quite a challenge moving forward. So, as I've told you all in the past, stocking up on these essential resources, these assets, I'm adding to the list what has just been recently announced of topping the list. Now, granted, I brought this to you guys previously in other videos, but as we push through and prepare ourselves for the changes that are coming to our financial system, to the dollar, also realizing that the FedNow system is going to be rolling out here in just a few weeks, and other countries are making their push for their changes and pulling away from the U.S. dollar, pulling away from like literally witnessing the execution of de-dollarization happening right in front of our eyes. Now, I'm not telling you this is what to do, but I am answering a question that I receive often, and that is, how do I buy gold? In addition to how do I buy crypto? More importantly, how do I buy XRP? So, if you have questions on the latter, please drop that in the comment section down below. But for those of you interested in buying gold, I've got free links in the description to Hard Assets Alliance. Feel free, check them out. But Watcher.guru shares that BRICS countries are buying large amounts of gold to topple the U.S. dollar. Now, this is not good. It's not good at all, but it is nonetheless what is happening. So if we were to look back on previous instances where we can, just take history and analyze what happened, as often history repeats itself. Although history for the last couple years hasn't been great. Think back the spring of 2020, when there was a shortage when there was limited supply, it was going to be extremely important for those to make sure they had as much of their vital resources and necessities as possible before it was too late. And I think that this is going to fall into a similar category where BRICS countries are buying massive amounts of gold to topple the dominance of the U.S. dollar on the global stage. The developing nations want to rely less on the U.S. dollar by creating a new currency to settle international trade. And according to the latest report from U.S. global investors, BRICS nations have increased their gold buying expenditure in 2023. So in my opinion, this is the beginning of the shortage of gold. This is the beginning of the shortage of the dollar. Ultimately, because gold will be purchased in mass quantities and in huge amounts, many thousands of tons, ultimately making this finite and precious resource more, driving the price up, as we've already seen happen in the past, in history, just in the last few months, last few years. Additionally, the dollar, there's going to be a shortage of dollars. Why? Because dollars are going to slowly be extracted from circulation and removed from society as we move towards a central bank digital currency, a CBDC, whether it is a U.S. central bank or if it's part of the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, or potentially one of the other 110 plus countries working on their own CBDC, some of which using Ripple Labs XRP's blockchain to execute that, like Montenegro. But BRICS trying to topple US dollar with gold. And this is important because the dollar is really this faith-based myth of a mental construct that other countries, other nations are starting to pull away from, whereas gold is always gold. Precious metals, hard assets, these will always be. The development puts the dollar on the back foot as gold could be used as collateral and not the USD. Over time, BRICS nations could rely more on their gold reserves and not hold the US fiat in their treasury. The global trade dominance could be tipping towards BRICS as they lay out new paths to topple the dollar. And the worst part about it is that maybe there comes a time where the dollar has an expiration date set on it and you have to turn it in. But worst case scenario is that the dollar ultimately just disappears, loses value tremendously, not just through inflation, but also through other countries pretty much just rejecting it. Which is why I stress heavily being diverse and secure while having cash flow producing businesses and assets and resources. Diversity is key, but more importantly, not being too heavy on cash and being heavier in assets, because gold is an asset, property, business, intellectual property, vehicles in some instances. These are all assets. There was even once a time where toilet paper and face masks would have been considered an asset, and they will hold their value as the people need them and ultimately can extract use out of them more so than they can these greenbacks that will no longer be accepted. Universally accepted is the best way to put it. The alliance of BRICS nations needs gold to back their native currency and shift away from the dollar. The USD has served as the global reserve for nearly a century, and its position is being challenged in 2023. The CEO of U.S. global Investors Frank Holmes said that the pattern of BRICS nations buying gold is worrisome. So comment down below if this is if you share a similar sentiment. It says that if you look back at the list of net buyers of gold, you'll notice that 3 are members of the BRICS countries: Russia, India, and China. And the article says that I point this out because, as I've been sharing with you for a couple of weeks now, we may be seeing the emergence of a multipolar world with a U.S.-centric world on one side and a China-centric world on the other, is what is said here. So if this doesn't concern you, if it doesn't worry you, is that quite possibly because you don't necessarily understand what's happening, what's going on, and what it could potentially mean moving forward? I think this is very important, especially for the simple fact that if we think about it, not only do we have crazy weather events happening, unexplainable weather events, we've got now this lightning strike hitting a gas pipeline, which is essentially issued and a force majeure, which is only going to be costly for us all. But think about it like this. Let's think about it like this. The BRICS nations, China is included. They're working on dethroning the dollar, killing the dollar, the death of the dollar, de-dollarization, as they move towards this new CBDC. Now, granted, we here in the United States of America are also working on our own system with the FedNow system rolling out in July. But if we really, really think about what's happening, how about this? The dollar continues to be worth less through inflation, through other countries turning their backs on it, and ultimately just not trusting it, and not putting their faith in our money, that we have very little faith in ourselves, with banking failure, banking collapse, systemic risk, contagion, a U.S. debt ceiling that is literally we're about to default on. So meanwhile, you have countries like China, which are included in BRICS, coming over and buying up U.S. property in U.S. dollars. Like, they're literally, in my opinion, laughing at us all the way to the bank as they're using worthless money to buy up what will soon be priceless assets of land and property and rights, and ultimately taking over this country. Think about it. Just the other day, I believe it was in Michigan, Goshen was not only allowed to buy property in the U.S. to produce batteries, but also were paid, or at least discounted, 50% of their costs, hundreds of millions of dollars, to use our resources for their company and their businesses. What happens when this all unfolds and the tables are turned, and we've literally sold and given away all that we have here for what? Now, I'm not saying that this is going to happen tomorrow or overnight or anytime soon or even ever, but the simple fact of the matter is that if we pay attention to the warning signs, it would behoove us to move quickly, to act fast. Secure yourself, your family, your business, your assets, your investments, your savings, your diversity, security, and cash flow. Have you bought gold? Do you own gold? How about silver? How about junk silver? How about any other precious metals? What does your portfolio look like? You don't have to tell me. This is more of a rhetorical question that I'm asking you to ask yourself. I'm not trying to get you to divulge your information and share it on this platform so that others can, pry into your lives. I'm asking you this, hypothetically, for you to really sit and think about the situation that's going on and what's happening, so that you don't end up blindsided, late to the party, only then looking back, watching these videos like, damn, I wish I would have done something sooner. I wish I would have known something sooner. These are the warning signs, folks. This was just released just a few days ago, and it's a rapidly changing and evolving situation, an event that's happening not only with the dollar, with CBDC, central bank digital currency, hundreds of countries, gold, but also with cryptocurrency, XRP. We got a lot that we have to really be paying attention to and preparing ourselves for. And that preparation comes, in my opinion, in diversity, strategy, planning, preparation, knowledge, communication, network, community, family. So by all means, folks, please Heed the warning signs. This is not to fear. This is not to cause fear, panic, anxiety, stress. I'm not trying to scare you or wig you out or anything like that. I'm just trying to communicate with you all, share this information, create the dialogue, work together. If you want to know more, by all means, contact me. Go check out my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. I've got pretty much all my links on Instagram. And I'm going to start building this out in a way that it's going to be super simple and super easy to follow, as well as sharing with you guys everything that I'm doing to get ready myself. Until next time, you all take care. Be safe. I'll see you real soon.